for the people who are manning the anti-terrorism squad of the Nigerian police, of course in collaboration with the Nigerian army. They can be routed.
Any help that the whistleblowers bill has been passed?
Of course. Of course.
Now, well, what I want to just add is this.
Not really.
The president
in that realm at all. Just a second. You know, we really need to help our policymakers, as it were, because what he's hinting at is saying something very fundamental, but you know we don't want to lose that point. The point being citizen participation in production of intelligence, because intelligence goes through so many cycles. You must get the raw information, and how are we going to gather that information? We don't have enough trained agents right now out there in the field doing the work. We know that I think that they talked about human, that is human intelligence, that is the people to gather it, that is the agents. We don't have that, and when you are dealing with an ideology-based group like Boko Haram, it's difficult to penetrate them. They are like a clan, they are a cult, you know.
Yes.
But the citizens are everywhere. These citizens that are being impacted by terrorist attacks, they are everywhere. Now, if you now have a system, I think myself and Nota have discussed it before, where you can funnel that intelligence in, that information about intentions, about attacks and things, and then that is at the gathering point. Now, you now have a collation mechanism. You have a mechanism for collating it, making sense out of just this information, and thank you, an analysis, you know, so that we can now start predicting.
Exactly.
You know, because that's really the value of intelligence. We want to be able to predict, we call that tactical threat assessment. Yes. We want to be able to assess the threat and predict what the bad guys are going to do next.
And prevent
so that you can prevent it.
And nip it in the bud, yes.
So that you can prevent. Sorry, I just had to...
No, it's okay.
You know,
I'm still on the same point. Okay. Two things now. I've witnessed a place here in Lagos and a community in Lagos. They used to have a very notorious police station. It's a police station in Agege. But today, if you go there, it's a model police station, such that the community are the ones arresting criminals and bringing them to the station. Policemen no longer go. Yes. There is a synergy between the police station and the people. I was in the police station.
Confidence.
And they don't have a counter. They have a reception with a plasma television. Oh, yes.
Agege.
Oh, yes. I'm telling you, that is a model. Yeah. When you walk in there to report a case, you don't talk to the crowd. Somebody takes you into a separate room, only you and the person. You don't have to go and buy paper to record. They have a register. And they immediately allocate somebody to handle your matter.
An officer.
In the cell that day, there were only 3 people. And the DPO assured me that they won't sleep there. It's either they go to court or they go to Panti to further their case, or they are released, depending on what brought them in there. So it's the same mechanism that should be deployed in those areas.
Sorry, how did that work out? Was it from the center or within the community?
DFID picked 3 stations in Lagos, Isokoko, Ilupeju, and Adeniji for that experiment. I've not been to Ilupeju and Adeniji, but I'm telling you my personal experience in Isokoko.
Wow.
It's out of this world. I entered their cell and they had toilet with water, not pail, the flush. It wasn't stinking. Not only that, they do crime mapping, which also will help in intelligence gathering in those places. So they have an idea of what may likely happen where, due to information collected from the people. Okay? Secondly, the president going to Niger and Chad. People have been wondering why. You know, before, when we hit them, they run away through Chad and Niger. They were bringing in equipment through Chad and Niger, such that, I mean, you see a group like that having so many APCs. You wonder how did they bring them in? So many brand new pickup vans, motorcycles, and all of that. But as it is, with the cooperation that we have with Niger and the Chad, they have nowhere to run to, or they too will be waiting for them. Remember that when we got very hot with them, they were also attacking their border areas. But now that things are being stepped up, they will have nowhere to go. They will be contained and they will be annihilated That I can assure you. But we now have to deal with the pockets of IED going up here and there. This is where we said we need a different security architecture entirely. And of course, it's been analyzed.
I mean, all the gains of our military in the last few weeks or months, and all that only for us to...
The spring offensive, because it was in the spring that the president made the pledge that within six weeks Boko Haram would be cleared out of the cities at least, and he kept the promise. That was pretty good.
All those gains, and we get like a dampener, this Amnesty International report indicting and naming some high-up military officers for crimes against humanity. I mean, I'd like your comment on that.
Well, that's a very unfortunate circumstance there. We have seen this before. I just want to quickly say that I don't for 1 minute think that AI's report amounts to much, aside from the usual bad name they like to give to Nigeria, and the usual, mudslinging that goes on against this country around the world. And I think part of the reason, what I see for that is that we are not very good at, our government is not very good at polishing our image outside. And then we give credence to a lot of stuff like this one that is being said now. I'm just making general statements. But why do I say that? Now, the reason is that there is no corpus evidence whatsoever that, in fact,
those things happen.
The Nigerian military or even the leadership of the military, engaged in any of these rights abuses. We have discussed this here before, and Mr. Nyota specifically, Baga 1 incident, April 2013. That was when they said that, 2,000 people were killed in Baga, this and that, only to find that only 30 Boko Haram persons died, 5 civilians and 1 soldier who was killed by Boko Haram elements. And they said 2,000 houses were burnt. We couldn't find 2,000 houses in the whole of Kukawa local government. So, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? They say 2,000 houses were burnt in Baga alone. Meanwhile, you don't have 2,000 houses in Kukawa.
Yeah, but
no, just say, I'll just rest my point in a second, man.
Yes.
And so what I'm saying is, we have seen this manufacturing of evidence in the past, and these are innuendos. And how did they get this? Well, they usually get, there's usually an eyewitness there, or not an eyewitness, somebody to give information.
Who sees 2,000 houses where there are only about 100?
They don't even have 100 good houses in the place. So, it's really unfortunate. I think what it is that, because it's like then, they use they use satellite imagery to verify their information, whereas there was no ground verification. You never use satellite to say you count houses in an area without ground verification. It takes the two, so it's a confirmation. So, these are the kinds of things they do against Nigeria, and which I find very reprehensible. The generals that are named, they are saying failure of command. It's called law of the mind, that you should have known that your people were doing this. But I'm saying the people didn't do nothing. So, I mean, why do we get to the point?
Should we just disparage the report?
Yes, of course. I mean, the president has been kind enough to say he will
look
study
into it.
I think the president is really giving them too much latitude. I think he should have been just, trashed.
Dismissed
Go bring corpus evidence. It's as simple as that. That's the standard. Anywhere.
Yeah, but
10,000 ISIS fighters have been killed in Iraq and Syria in 9 months, and no charges have been brought against any. This is conflict, for goodness sake.
Yeah, but I was going to say that, Honor. This is a war. So you are saying we killed Boko Haram, we killed insurgents,
and this is the country
we
that
killed
has been so lenient on Boko Haram. I remember coming on your program, and I was very vehement that why is the president releasing Boko Haram, that is President Goodluck Jonathan, releasing captured Boko Haram elements, releasing their wives and things. These are things that are used to put pressure elsewhere to deal with insurgency. I mean, we are not serious.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this is a war. So how can you then be talking about crimes against humanity in a war situation.
When people